Hello, Capricorn friends. Up today is your October 2025 Vedic Astrology forecast plus bonus tarot card reading. We're going to see what Exalted Jupiter means for you this month, as well as looking at the October 6th full moon and October 20th new moon. So Capricorn, you can get a feeling for the whole month of October, how that's going to unfold for you. If you're new here, welcome to Anastasia Tarot and Vedic Astrology channel, where I help you navigate the cosmic currents and surf the planetary wavelengths with ease and grace. As we get into this Capricorn Vedic Astrology forecast for October 2025, chapters are time-stamped in the description, and as always with collective readings, results will vary depending on your personal chart. So take what aligns and leave the rest behind. This October 2025 horoscope is for Capricorn rising, Capricorn moon, and Capricorn sun as per your Vedic sidereal astrology chart. Okay, Capricorn, we are starting your Vedic astrology charts looking at the full moon on October 6th. To get a feel for the beginning of the month, then we'll go to the new moon and look at the end of the month, and finally get into your tarot reading. And as you can see, this full moon, the moon is with your Lagna Lord, Saturn, in the third house. Now, Capricorn, for full moon, it invites a reflection on what has come to fruition, what has come to fullness in your life, and then what are you going to release over the next 2 weeks, and possibly longer depending on the depth of your meditation. But with moon is with your Lagna Lord, so this could be a pretty deep time for you. Saturn is continuing in third house Pisces. It's a long transit. With the retrograde, you may have some chances of do-overs. And again, this could be third house is neighbors, siblings, day-to-day communication. So with your Lagna Lord here, it's focusing on your day-to-day communication. Now, you have this nice activation with your Lagna Lord activating lower mind in the third house, and the sun activating higher mind in the ninth house. We'll get into that in a moment, but first of all, the big news is you have this conjunction of Mars and Mercury in your 10th house. And this is the beginning of the month. Toward the end of the month, you're going to get a really lovely Jupiter activation, especially for Capricorns who might be looking for love. But first, let's talk about this career house activation that's happening in the beginning of the month. And Mars is going to bring a lot of attention to your career and, some vitality, some motivation. Now, Mars and Mercury are kind of uneasy bedfellows, as it were. These two planets do not get along that well. Mars also is not particularly happy in Libra, but career-wise, this can actually work out well for you, Capricorn. Mercury here is in Chitra Nakshatra, which is a Mars-ruled nakshatra, and the moon, at least on this new moon date, on this full moon date, is in Revati, which is a Mercury-ruled nakshatra. So there's a subtle Mars-Mercury theme going on, which has to do with asserting yourself, but doing it in a really diplomatic Libran sort of way. So Capricorn, throughout October, expect to have energy, motivation, and self-assertiveness in your professional life, your career life, your exterior professional reputation, as it were. And really, there's an invitation here to be able to set boundaries and handle any conflicts that might occur through communication. Mars is definitely going to make you stick up for yourself and, be independent and sticking up for yourself. But Mercury, if you can open up to that Mercury lesson, having to do with negotiating and diplomacy, even as you're independent and sticking up for yourself. Now, you've got Jupiter, the great benefic, on your 6th house, so this can be good for health. And then what is 6th house? It's the daily grind. So this somewhat relates to this career activation. If 10th house is your whole career and public reputation, 6th house is the daily grind of your day-to-day work schedule. And this Jupiter activation of the 6th house, again, it can support health, and it supports in your relationships with your coworkers, bosses, subordinates, for Capricorns that work in a large organization. Jupiter adds some ease and grace into all of those relationships, so that can be quite nice. And 3rd house and 6th house work subtly together, right? Because 3rd house with your Lagna Lord there is putting the attention on your day-to-day communications. And then 6th house is putting the attention on your day-to-day schedule, your day-to-day work interactions. Now, with Venus and Ketu in your 8th house and Sun in your 9th house, Capricorn, you do have some subtle spiritual stuff going on, and it could actually be quite deep. First of all, Rahu Ketu activating this, Rahu on the house of your personal finances, and Ketu is on the house of joint finances. So this is a mixed bag, and you can see Venus is at 27 degrees Leo in your 8th house. Ketu is 24 degrees Leo in your 8th house. So these two are pretty tightly conjunct. Now, Venus in the 8th house, if we're speaking financially, it can bring good fortune to joint finances. Money can come to you through partners, spouse, business partners, things of that nature. 8th house also has to do with unearned income. So with benefic Venus on the 8th house, if you've been applying for loans, you need to get a loan, something of that nature, then Venus will definitely support bringing that in. Now, Ketu is always a chaos factor. So you never really know what's going to happen with Ketu, especially when it comes to money and things of that nature. However, spiritually speaking, this Venus and Ketu together in the 8th house, what's 8th house spiritually speaking? It's death, regeneration, Kundalini energy, health. So for those of you who are involved in intimate relationships, this Venus in the 8th house definitely could find you really deepening your sexual relationship and bringing a new depth of emotion into your sexuality. And for those of you who work with Kundalini energy, at the highest expression, sexual energy manifests as Kundalini energy. So there are some real opportunities for energetic healing. 8th house is an Air house. It has to do with health, longevity, those sorts of things. So definitely with this Venus Ketu here, if you're looking at the higher expressions of the 8th house, energy healing, working with Kundalini force, that type of thing, And it is a time to put some focus on your health. And again, especially in terms of energetic healing, energetic balance. Now, all of this gets a lovely support from Sun in your lucky ninth house. Ninth house is father, guru, philosophy, religion. One thing, Capricorn, just to watch out for with Jupiter in your sixth house, Sun in your ninth house, there may be some legal things going on. So it's only going to be for very few Capricorns that it would be, an actual lawsuit, something of that nature. But you may find through one way or another that you're researching legal, law-oriented things. And again, this isn't going to be for every Capricorn, but with this sixth house and ninth house activation, that may bring up legal issues, study of the law, something of that nature for Capricorns. And for Capricorn students, this Sun in the ninth house is really lovely. Sun in the ninth house supports all your studies, regardless of, what area of studies. It supports all your studies, and it does especially support studies having to do with the law, philosophy, religion. For Capricorns, if your father's still with us, Sun in the ninth house can put an emphasis on your relationship with your father. And, if it's a good relationship, just enjoying that. And if there are challenges or troubles in that relationship, you may find this ninth house activation is a good time to perhaps smooth over some of those difficulties. Okay, so we already talked about this 10th house activation. Let's go ahead and fast forward, Capricorn, to the new moon on October 21st. Okay, Capricorn, so we are looking at the new moon chart, which is October 21st. I know in the beginning of the video I mentioned October 20th, but I'm going by the numbers here. There are different ways of calculating the new moon. I'm going by the numbers so we can see moon is at 4 degrees Libra, sun is at also 4 degrees Libra. So the peak new moon is when moon and sun are exactly conjunct. And the first thing you're going to see here is, wow, super activation in your 10th house of career and public reputation. Sun is now here. Sun does very well in the 10th house. So Sun, Mars, and Mercury are all here. And at least for the new moon is here. So if you do any kind of new moon practice where you are planting the seeds that you would like to see grow in the next 2 weeks, definitely any sort of career manifestation, this is a really good energy for planting seeds of career manifestation. This is just, sun does well in the 10th house. It shines a light on your career, on your public reputation. And as long as you're able to, balance this Mars, Mercury energy and, kind of take the lesson from Libra about diplomacy and, negotiation, diplomacy, really nice October, latter part of October is a really nice activation of your career house. The only day you want to watch out for is there's Rudra Yoga between October 20th to 23rd. So just be extra special careful. October 20th to 23rd, that's Mars may cause some, inflame some anger, irritation, anger, those sorts of things. So just be, play it cool. October 20th to 23rd, just keep your cool, Capricorn. Play it cool. Now, for Capricorns who are looking for love, you have got this wonderful Hamsa Yoga. Jupiter is in your 7th house. That on its own can bring a love interest, a romantic interest. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. So this is just some extra special yumminess in your house of partnerships. Jupiter exalts in Cancer about once every 12 years, so this really is a lovely asterism. And for you, Capricorn, it is forming a Hamsa Yoga. So this can really elevate your experience. The Hamsa Yoga is in effect from, let me check my notes here, from October 18th to 31st. Happy Halloween. So this whole latter part of October from the 18th to the 31st, you have this Hamsa Yoga. Now, for Capricorns who are in, if you're in the teaching profession, teaching, guiding, coaching, any of those types of professions, this combination of the Hamsa Yoga in your 7th house and all of this career activation and Venus activating your 9th house, this is especially nice for Capricorns who are involved in those types of fields, teaching, counseling, coaching, any type of profession where you are guiding other people. This is just a lovely asterism for Capricorns in those types of profession. And then getting back to this exalted Jupiter in your 7th house, Capricorn. So if you're looking for love, this can bring a new relationship to you. If you're already in union, this can really bring just a feel-good factor to your existing relationship. Jupiter is expansive, and so you may feel your horizons are broadening in your relationship with your near and dear one. And it could also be, business partnerships would be covered by this as well. So again, with this, 10th house activation and 7th house activation, business partnerships could also be going through a really, feeling good, expansive, elevated experience during this Hamsa Yoga from October 18th to the 31st. And this 9th house activation continues with benefic Venus in your lucky 9th house. And this is, again, relationship with father, guru. If you follow any guru, there's going to be a lot of love there. And then if you've had a difficult relationship with your father, this may be a chance to bring some more spiritual and unconditional love into your relationship with your father. And whether he's with us or not, sometimes even with our parents who have passed, holding them in love and light, even if it was a problematic or difficult relationship when they're alive, holding them in love or light, after they've gone, can be tremendously healing. And so again, for students, benefic Venus in your 9th house, your studies should go well, and especially if you're studying with other people, 9th house Venus could bring relationship or meeting someone through your studies or through a religious or spiritual group. And that is your Vedic astrology horoscope for October. Oh, one thing I forgot. Okay. There's this Parivartana Yoga going on from, what days is it? The Parivartana Yoga is from October 8th to 24th. So this is the whole middle part of October from the 8th to the 24th. We have Venus in Mercury's sign. Venus is in Virgo. And we have Mercury in Venus's sign of Libra. Now, Venus is usually debilitated in Virgo. Venus does not particularly like being in Virgo, but during this Parivartana Yoga, where there's this exchange between Mercury and Venus, the debilitation gets canceled and Venus can really, give her good results. And also, for Capricorn, this Parivartana Yoga from October 8 to 24, it gives it connects these two houses. It connects this ninth, lucky, auspicious ninth house with your 10th house of career. So again, this is just a subtle bolstering for your career. It's, connecting the lucky ninth house with your 10th house of career with this Parivartana yoga. It really adds a subtle elevation and luck factor to your 10th house karakas, which are career and public reputation. Okay, Capricorn, really this time that's it for your Vedic astrology horoscope for October 2025. Next, we'll get into your tarot card reading. Okay, my Capricorn friends, we are going to get into your October 2025 tarot and numerology. Okay, Capricorn, so we have the Seven of Swords, the Page of Cups, and the Devil, which is your card, Capricorn. Okay, so first, let's have a look at this Seven of Swords. And it really is relating to the Devil card here. And let's get into that, why that would be. So, Capricorn, with the Seven of Swords, there's incomplete karma. So you may be doing something over. Now, I'm looking at your chart. Huge 10th house activation happening in the latter part of October, 7th house activation. So you may be revisiting either whether it's with relationships or again with all of this 10th house activation. I kind of think it may be in the career. You may be revisiting some idea that you had in the past, career-wise, business-wise, and going back to redoing this idea. Maybe on a different level or, with some new information or a new approach. But there is some unfinished karma here. And this Devil card, now, astrologically speaking, Devil is Capricorn's trump. So, this is your card. Now, Devil can speak to being trapped in, repetitive cycles of behaviors. For some Capricorns, not all, but for some Capricorns, Devil can actually relate to addictions. And Capricorn, I know you guys can be workaholics, some of you. So if if this 10th house activation for you is bringing up some old, workaholic patterns where you feel like you need to just, so much bury yourself in work and, work obsessively or even addictively, or use work to get out of your emotions. Let's talk about how Devil works with this Page of Cups here. So Capricorn, with Page of Cups, you could be having some emotional stuff come up. And, again, you have this lovely Hamsa Yoga, which is happening in your 7th house of relationships. And then, this huge 10th house activation of your career, for the latter part of October. So whether it's a new relationship that's coming in, or maybe even, someone from your past, really important with this Devil card here to stay cognizant, Capricorn, of breaking through some of the old patterns that you may just sort of fall into because they're habit. And again, these could be patterns having to do with your relationship with the 7th house activation, or with this 10th house activation, they could be patterns of, working addictively, workaholically, working with lust of result, right? You really want these certain results to come in your career life and your professional life. So Devil is a caution here to really examine that and start to embody this idea of working with no lust of result, which is work for work's sake. Now, I know, Capricorn, you're a very practical sign. And of course, all of us work for money, right? We work for money, and, some praise or accolades is nice too. That's life in the material world here on planet Earth. However, the devil really cautions and advises you not to work only for work's sake and material gain. It cautions you to work not only for material gain, because it turns into a trap, right? A treadmill. It keeps you bound to this lower quaternary of the lower chakras, which we need them, right? We have to survive and exist on planet Earth. However, being able to work for work's sake and to look at your work as your dharma, your expression of spirituality, and karmically, paying your karmic debts to your communities, the people you serve. This is really going to help deal with any of this devil energy and really transform it to a higher level. Devil, Saturn, the devil, these are difficult energies to overcome, but the joy is that once you do overcome them, it really lifts you to a higher level. Now, with this page of cups here for Capricorns that have kids, this may actually be one of your kids, a young person in your life. That's not going to apply to all Capricorns, but for some Capricorns. And again, for the Capricorns where this page is, an actual child in your life, there may be, right with these cards, some recurring issues. Maybe one of your kids has, emotional troubles, and there are some recurring issues that come up, and you feel really quite frustrated. And, these issues are coming up, and, bedevilments. And so the guidance here, especially with benefic Jupiter on your 7th house, is look for ways to release those unfinished karmas and repeating patterns. Look for a way to do something new and kind of break through this devil prison of repetition. Now we're going to get into your numerology. I'm not going to take the page. That's a number card, but we have 7 plus 15 equals 22. And this is the Fool card. In Tarot's major arcana, the Fool is number 0, but numerology, I'm going to take 22 as being the Fool's card. And this is lovely. The Fool is completely open. In many ways, the Fool is opposite of the devil, right? The devil has an agenda, and the devil is very goal-oriented, and he is going to keep repeating things and repeating things and repeating things until he gets the result that he wants. And, Capricorn, I know you can be a stubborn sign and keep repeating things until you get the result that you want. The Fool is a radical departure from this. The Fool is really supporting you to completely empty your heart and mind of expectations. So just really get yourself, and whether this is through meditation, prayer, yoga, whatever spiritual practices you do, getting to your place of 0 expectations, where your heart and mind is completely empty and completely open to what Spirit has to offer you. And this is a real surrender. If, devil is holding on to things and repeating them and holding on and repeating, the Fool card is just a complete surrender to the, the benefic universal powers of Source, and putting some trust into the divine plan and how that's going to unfold for you. Okay, Capricorn, that is your October 2025 Tarot and Numerology. If you enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe. Wishing you the blessings of good health, peace, and prosperity for October. Namaste.